a Pete Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like...
What an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It's episode 224. The show must go on and more with my friend Carson Heady. And I cannot wait to get to the show. But let's pay the bills really quickly. If you haven't bought my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? 101 ways to increase your store traffic and increase your profits. Best compliment I ever got on this book was from my dear friend, Doug Stewart, who said, take the word furniture and mattress out. It's just a great marketing book. And if you want a sales book, I've got a sales book for you. I've been blessed to travel over 2 million miles with some great mentors, over 2 million miles in 43 years. It's all in here. If you want to learn how to sell more mattresses, this is not elementary school. It's not middle school. It's not high school. This is college level selling. And I have in this book, I'll show you real quick, guys. I have QR codes for all the basic stuff. So can't find them. So all kinds of QR codes for videos, for websites, Better Sleep Console, where you can learn all the basic stuff. But this is college level stuff. And then I asked 10 other contributors to join me and make this book the best it could be. And so this isn't my book. This is Jeff Janakovo's book too. It's Chris Tahaney's book. It's Brent Batterman's book. It's Randy Thompson's book. It is my friend Scott Vaughn's book and more. So grab that on Amazon. It's under $20. I think it's $19.99, something like that. And Sell a Million, for some reason, they keep telling me they're going to raise it to $19.99, but it's still $14.99. So grab it and sell more. I'd like to thank my friends and my sponsors, the Mattress Industry Network Group, Greg. Thank you. Steve, thank you for your sponsorship. If you want to learn how to build, sell, and market and succeed in the mattress industry today, join this group. Over 2,400 strong, might even be over 2,500 strong. It's a group created by retailers for the entire industry. You don't have to be in this business alone, guys and gals. If you ever feel alone, and you're just by yourself in that mattress store or in that furniture store, you don't have to be. Join this group, 100% free. Just hit that QR code that Jim's going to pull up there in a second and join the group. So I get in there every once in a while. I'm extremely busy. And one other sponsor I'd like to share with you. If you are looking, there is not a better pound for pound retail store in the entire country than Happy Z's in Paducah, Kentucky. Wingo Coachin with Scott Vaughn and Scott Bidwell, who I fondly refer to as Scott Squared, are having a great masterclass, and it's going to be in June. It's in person. The people that come to these paid events are the best of the best. And I've met great friends and store owners at this event, and you will too. And I think it's just something that if you haven't done it, you need to do it. And use code PETE, PETE 2025 to get $200 off. So super simple. Just go to wingo.win/2025 and put that code in, and you're good to go. And I think that does it. My friend Carson, welcome to the show.
Pete, man, it's so good to be with you again. And man, watching your new intro too. And you've got some luminaries on this show. I got to really bring my A game today for you, my friend. Thanks for having me.
So I have to say this because I'm a big Weinberg fan, and I know you're a friend. He's a friend and a mentor to you as well. And when you started talking about management in the book, and you started talking about being a hero maker, I'm just like, that's like vintage Weinberg. And I'm like, Mike, dude, do you realize how much impact that you're having, that we're writing books about what you taught us, dude? Like, it's amazing.
When I got promoted to lead a sales team several years ago at Microsoft, I actually gifted myself Sales Management Simplified again. And I had listened to the audiobook and just, it really clicked. And I've seen and heard it other places as well, but yeah, he really stuck the landing with that one.
Oh, Sales Management Simplified is, I sent him a note, and this is what I said. How dare you write this 20 years too late for me? What the heck is wrong with you, Weinberg?
Yeah, I learned a lot of things the hard way because Mike wrote that book too late.
Exactly.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like, I could have just read this. And if I would have been smart enough to just take his word for it and implement this stuff, I would have spared myself a lot of pain, and I would have spared my poor teammates a lot of pain. Right.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So listen, I saw a lot of different things. Before you even brought up John Wooden's name, I'm going, this is like, they call me coach. This is like what Wooden writes about, and they call me coach. And then I see the reference to John Wooden, and I'm like,
it's all in there, man. This was like, it was a labor of love that took every bit of 5 years, but it's the whole thing, the whole story, the whole playbook.
This book right here is it's completely and totally abused. I mean, it's just like, I went through 3 yellow markers on this book. My red pen did hold up though. So that part was good. But this is like not just a book. It's literally Carson's playbook to the success that he's had as both a sales A player and also as a sales leader, as an executive leader. His playbook on how to lead people and how to sell in today's new world, how to use AI, how to use LinkedIn. There's so much to this book. It's absurd. But I'm going to tell you, the thing that touched my heart the most about this book is it's a call to arms. I love sales. And if you love sales, let's everybody together. Let's up the ante. Let's go all in. Let's be the best professionals that we can be. And let's push all those chips to the center and let's go for it. That's what this is about. And I haven't even got, now, I had to sneak a little ahead. This thing, I'm going to tell you right now, is going to make me cry when I get to what I would tell my younger self.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it's a lot of the same things I would have said to myself.
I hope so.
So, Carson, I like your book so much that not only did I buy them all, and I couldn't find them all, I don't know why, but I've got this many here, but then I've got 6 of them on Audible.
Thank you, my friend.
And I've got 2 more somewhere I can't find them because I was trying to clean my office. And so that tells you a little bit about me. I'm not all the way there at
I'm the
64.
same way. I've got stuff everywhere, but they say that is the sign of a fine mind. That's what I keep telling myself anyway.
So why did you start writing this book? And by the end, did that purpose change?
Ooh, it's an amazing question. When it began for me, it was, after Salesman on Fire, which is still my best-selling book from 2020. After Salesman on Fire, it just kind of changed. It changed my life in a lot of ways.
Get this one too, guys.
The different shows and the different content, and the engagement with my followers, and frankly, the trajectory of my career, like all of the things took a major impact after Salesman on Fire. And I thought I was finished. I didn't see another story at the time. But what I realized, Pete, especially amidst the pandemic, was that everything about sales, how we had come to know it, was shifting. The fundamentals are always going to be the same. It's a contact sport. It's a relationships game. But what was changing was how we were interacting and engaging. And frankly, as well, as I talked to so many different sellers and sales leaders globally, what people were struggling with was also shifting. The burnout, the back-to-back calls, the being on Teams and Zoom calls all day, every day. And, it's just a flavor of burnout that I think a lot of people weren't quite used to. And at the same time, I'm getting into the major leagues in my career, and I'm developing and driving some of the largest deals that I've ever touched and been a part of. So I'm learning at a rapid pace, and negotiation lessons that I was taking, and how I was just breaking down barriers when it came to getting into different lines of business, how I was defining my prospecting, how I was leveraging LinkedIn, but also AI. A lot of things were changing. And, amidst all of it was pushing through every day, having to, being used to being a road warrior, being out in the field regularly, but having to come and sit at this desk every morning and be on back-to-back calls. Some days was excruciating, and, I'd have to put on my mask and, be top of the heap and act like nothing fazed me, even though outside that door, sometimes everything was crashing down with family and health situations and things of that nature. And so I literally just adopted the mantra, the show must go on. I was listening to this song to hype me up before tough negotiations, brutal conversations where, IT or procurement would rake me over the coals because I had the audacity to reach out to their board or their C-level. And I'm doing what I'm getting paid to do. And I'm going out and creating gargantuan strategic deals out of thin air with LinkedIn contacts that people didn't believe would happen. I mean, I was literally told the largest deal that I signed during that time was told by multiple internal stakeholders, these guys are never going to sign this deal. They're going to leave you at the altar. I had people that had jumped in to help me that abandoned me because they didn't think this thing was going to happen. It did. But my point in saying all that is there was more story to tell. I didn't know where it was going. And then by the time it was finished, I usually find when I write a book that it does shift pretty fundamentally each time. And, when I started with my very first book back in 2009, Birth of a Salesman, it drastically changed by the conclusion for the better. I actually, by my second book, I jettisoned an entire premise and about 200 pages worth of stuff. Very similarly with this one, I wrote an entire story where I was going to funnel a lot through my previous fictional protagonist, Vincent Scott. And I scrapped all of that as well, because I wanted to go nitty gritty. Here's the playbook. Here's what I've done. Here's what I've learned. I am an open book. It's all out there for the world to see. So it definitely shifted fundamentally and pretty significantly by the end.
That's awesome. There's two things that I noticed, well, three, in the book that I identified with. You're a contrarian, much like I am. You may really have been born in Missouri, my friend. I'll show you if somebody takes a shot at me or you. We're not going to say much. We're just going to show them, right? Like, you're never going to get that deal across the finish line. Okay, watch me.
Game on.
Yeah. Now we're going to go, right? And then the other thing is we're both old souls. I mean, I'm reading this stuff. I'm listening. I'm going, that's the songs that I listen to. I like, this guy's like 20 some years younger than me, 19 actually, younger than me. And he's like, listen to a lot of the same stuff I listen to.
Yeah. I thank my parents for that. And frankly, some of the, even just the films that you watch when, I was in a boiler room call center in my 20s, and you get addicted to, films like Wall Street, and, you listen to the Sinatra soundtrack. It's just, you gravitate towards some of these classy things. I was always off the beaten path, and, even hung out with some guys in high school that had a lounge / treehouse thing that we hung out in and listened to, old 50s, 60s, 70s. So yeah, it's nothing better.
And throughout your book, all throughout it, whether it's management, whether it's sales, whether it's life lessons, you have a theme that runs through it. And that is Sinatra's song, My Way. Yes. I did it my way. And my hat is off to you, Carson, but I want to tell you what my hat is really off to you about. Really, dude, you had the balls to say to everybody in the world, including your competitors, here it is.
Yep.
This is it right here. This is what I did. And this is what I'm going to continue to do. And guess what? You can't stop me.
No, I dare them to try to do it.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I've had people say, so how did you do blah, blah, blah? Or, how do I get your job? And by the time I tell them, their face has just dropped.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's way too much work. I'm not doing that. And it's like, well, you asked, so I told you.
I've trained this stuff in so many places and to so many people, and it's a catch-22. Nobody has done it, replicated it, does anywhere near what I do in the way of the schematics of the playbook, how I prospect, how I leverage LinkedIn, how I go at scale and speed. And it's interesting to me because I've always wondered why, but on the flip side, I guess I should be grateful because it still kind of makes me that unicorn. And, we've been doing this a long time, Pete. I'm at that age where it's adapt or die with AI. I've got to figure out how am I going to assimilate this into my arsenal so that I can still be dangerous at 46 and I can still be the best salesman I can be out there with this new technology. We're either going to let it replace us or we're going to figure out how to be irreplaceable by assimilating it into our arsenal, and how I'm infusing it now even into my prospecting, into my outreach, into my what I send when I get ghosted, how I research on the fly in the moment, how I arm myself with talking points to make me unstoppable on sales calls. It's just, I'm excited because I feel like I'm still getting better and up leveling.
Yeah. And the thing with AI, and I'm just like an infant compared to where you're at already with it, is it really is adapt or die. And I have some conversations with some friends and they're like, it's all about relationships. I go, I know it's all about relationships, but this is what I'm going to tell you. If you learn how to use AI and leverage AI, you have more time for your relationships.
Bingo. And on top of that, if I can go out and find someone's LinkedIn profile, company report, customer web address, and I can plug that all into an AI engine and I can have it, because it's all in the prompts, ladies and gentlemen. If I can have it prepare for me 10 bullet points that I can send to a customer in seconds flat that would entice them to have a conversation with me, guess what? I might have been able to think of 2 or 3 or 5 or maybe even 9 of those bullet points off the top of my head and write a 30-minute email to this person that I feel is all perfect and crafted, and maybe not get a response, right? AI can do that exact same thing in seconds flat and pull in all their company reports and their web address and information from their LinkedIn profile. And then, yeah, keep the humanity, keep the authenticity. I'm going to be the final editor of this thing, but ship it in seconds flat. I can start a lot more conversations. Conversations lead to relationships. Relationships beget deals. It's that simple. So you've got to think about how you can leverage the tools to augment your strategy so you can create more winning relationships.
Yeah. And you can tell AI to do it in your voice. You can literally feed your book into AI and it will start to sound more like you. And as you develop it and go further. And so all my store owners, so let me just do this. If you're a sales rep or sales executive, or you own a manufacturing company and you don't get this book, you're an absolute fool. And I'm just going to tell you this: get it, live by it, implement it. You won't. You might buy it, probably won't read it. And if you read it, it's going to be too much work and you won't do it. Prove me wrong. That said, all my store owners, guys and gals, you're like, what's this like got to do with me? Everything. Here's your deal. You wear 15 to 20 hats every day as a store owner. Sometimes you're the janitor. Sometimes you got to jump on that delivery truck. Sometimes you're answering the phone. Anything that doesn't get done by one of your employees, you have to do it. I know what you live. I'm in stores almost every day. I know the life that you live. I know you need to be on social media and make great posts. Guess what? What used to take you a half an hour can literally take you seconds. Give you an example. I want to post on Facebook and my other social media channels a post about what are the best ways to get a good night's sleep. Put that in your prompt. It'll spit out exactly what you want. You can even say, give me 7 tips or 8 or 9, whatever it is that you want on how to get a good night's sleep. And that it's done for you in seconds. Post that and be done. Now, next thing that you have to do, I'm telling you, as a store owner, if you're using AI the right way, I am like begging you to use it. It's not hard. If I, Mr. Dinosaur here, can do it, you can do it too. And it will make your job so much easier. Can you add to that? I see you chomping at the bit there.
I love it, Pete. I mean, you're spot on. You act like you're in your infancy, but it's far from the truth per usual. I think you're already running around, and that's all we can do, right? It's progress over perfect. Right now, I'm just tinkering too. I'm learning this stuff with everybody else, and where I think about it is, okay, how can I leverage AI or infuse AI into every step of my sales process? So when I'm prospecting, again, all in the prompts, I will ask it to write a brief, succinct, but very focused email to my prospect. And I'll list the name, I'll put in their web address, and I'll say, pull company reports. Here's a LinkedIn profile of the person, if it's one person, and write a message that would inspire them to take a meeting with me. And I will say things like, please give me a subject line that has the maximum response rate. I'm a Moneyball data-driven sales guy, so I'm looking at probability. If I can enhance the probability that it has an open rate, so write me the subject line that has the best open rates, write me an email body that has the best response rate, write something that will inspire them to take a meeting with me. And don't get me wrong, I never just press send on what AI spits out. I will go in and massage it. But my point is, and what Pete just said is spot on, might have taken me 30 minutes before to do the research. Now I can do it in literally seconds because the AI is doing the research. I've jumped onto customer calls with executives, not prepped a lick because I didn't have time. I was back to back to back. My team asked me to jump on to meet this executive. I'm typing into the AI engine. Here's the person's LinkedIn profile. Here's their web address. Tell me some 10 talking points that would outline why my organization would be a unique, differentiated partner for this customer's organization. It'll give me as many bullet points as I want. And by the time I get to about third or fourth on those bullet points, I start to get the head nods from these people on my team's call. I know that I'm rocking and rolling. It makes me smarter than I deserve to be. And lastly, when I look at how I'm leveraging it for social posts, I can take a social post that I did a year ago or a transcript that I said on a show, and I can take my exact words and say, write a post, write a newsletter, write a whatever I want, an email in my voice, my style, my tone about this topic. And bam, there it is. Now, granted, we have to be very careful. We can't be reckless with the technology because, again, sales has been, and always shall be about relationships. You can't do anything that makes you show up to sacrifice the relationship or your authenticity. Because here's the thing. I've read the articles and the polls that say that, people would change their stance or their opinion, even on sales influencers or on a seller or a person, if they knew that their posts were manufactured by AI. I am never posting anything that was manufactured by AI, but I'm absolutely taking maybe something I said on a podcast a year ago and turning it into a LinkedIn post in my words. And those types of things can get a lot of hits and likes, but it means that I literally was on LinkedIn for seconds and wrote a post that gets thousands upon thousands of impressions. Apply it intelligently to areas where you wish you had more time, and then be smart about how you're leveraging the time that you're freeing up by doing that.
So I didn't know this until I read Anthony and Jeb's book on AI.
Yeah.
And I found out, like, within the first 6 chapters, I think, that AI will lie to you.
It can.
And there was a lawyer that got in some hot water with a judge because AI made up some cases. It wants to satisfy the prompts that you give it. And that's why, Carson said it very quickly, but I want to unpack that just a little bit. AI is as good as the prompts that you give it. So you have to experiment with prompts, and generally speaking, more details better. The other thing is you have to read the answer, and you have to be responsible for the answer before you post it. And knowing that AI can potentially lie to you is a huge advantage. One of the things that you talked about was you had a boss that you greatly admired because he or she helped you see around the curves and perceive their job is to help a salesperson see around the curves. And us in all our leadership positions, whether we're a store manager or whether we're at an executive level B2B, our job is to help our salespeople see around the curves. And your job as a store owner is to help your new sales pro who's working the retail floor to see around the curves. The customer often gives us misleading information or contrary information, and you have to kind of help coach them through that. So I appreciate Anthony and Jeb helping me see around that curve before I got myself into trouble. And so for the $20 or $25 a book costs, I'm like, hey, amen. I don't have to slop it up now, right?
Those guys are geniuses, and hats off to both of them. Love them both. Pete, I think you hit on something super important. The AI is going to be as good as what it's fed, and frankly, the data that it's going to feed, pull from. And you got to trust but verify, as Ronald Reagan used to say. So I think the key element here is the AI can make you better, but like anything in sales, there's no silver bullet. And I think that's the key element. And I also had to really realize, what is my unique differentiator as a seller, as a sales leader? I was not a prototypical technology or cloud seller when I started working at Microsoft 11 plus years ago. And I had to really find my niche. I had to realize that I'm a community builder. I'm an orchestrator. I'm one of those sick people that loves prospecting. And so when I heard people say, hey, we don't have good line of business relationships, People just look at us as a vendor in these certain situations. I said, challenge accepted. These people are on LinkedIn. Let me go out and reach out. But I'm not just going to reach out to 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 executives. At my biggest deal that I signed in the last 5 years, I reached out to over 500 people in that one organization, got a meeting with the president, got in his office, brought him a copy of my CEO's book, and highlighted some passages that I knew would resonate with this person. I found out what they were trying to build and why they were looking at a competitor, and frankly showed them how going with the competitor was not the right path, that we had a model built exactly for this. We had relationships with people that they needed relationships with. And while it took 2 years, a pandemic, and 7 C-level changes, we got the deal done. And it looked very different by the time it was done. But my point in saying that was I had to realize my value prop for my customers. It was that I could demystify this behemoth that I work for. And I knew the resources and the people to bring in to help them. Sometimes it was, let me introduce you to this executive and get out of the way so the sweet music can happen. Very similarly with my team. Sometimes the greatest value that I can bring my team is I can walk into a situation, and I've seen this before. You know, when I did this 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 years ago, this is how I tackled it. I have that immediate credibility with my team because I carried a bag as long as I did. And I'm willing to roll my sleeves and get in the trenches with them. I still prospect. I still talk to executives regularly. I want to talk to customers as much as humanly possible. We've got to do those things as sales leaders. Sales leaders set the tone for a sales culture or lack thereof. And if you don't have a sales culture in your organization, you've got to have the tone set at the top. You've got to make sure that you are embracing and you understand the tech and the tools and the talent that is going to make you successful for the long haul.
Wow. So good. And that ties right into the next thing I wanted to talk to you about. It seems like all throughout the book, you're saying to us that sales, all of sales, retail sales or wholesale sales, it's a team sport.
Yeah.
And the very best store that I've seen, pound for pound store that I've seen is Happy Z's in Paducah, Kentucky.
Near my hometown, Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Not far.
Not far.
Not far. And they are on commission. If you watch them on the floor, they will literally share their ups with other people. They will say, you know what? I need you to take this over. I think you're a better fit. They will actually group coach each other, and they will volunteer. They will come back and they'll say, listen, this is what I've said. This is what the customer said. They're looking at this bed. Like, what do you think I should do next? And it's team sales, and it's hard to teach that. And I was amazed when I first saw this like 2-3 years ago on a Black Friday sale. And I said to Scott Vaughn, the owner, I said, Scott, you should be very proud of yourself because I've never seen this before. I've never seen commissioned salespeople that were so concerned about doing the right thing for the customer and the right thing for the store that they were so selfless. One day that I was there, the one guy said, hey, what do you got up? And the salesperson said, yeah, I only got 10,000 up, which is great for most retail salespeople. But that was low. He goes, you know what? I think I've got like 70 up already. Take my turn. You can have it. Like, that doesn't happen anywhere. Like, wow. And you know, the one thing that he does, that Scott does, or did before he sold the business to his son, Jordan, who's, by the way, is doing a great job. He will not hire someone unless they can sell themselves in the interview that they're coachable. That's the one answer he wants. He wants to know that they're coachable. If they're coachable and they're a good human being, I can teach them what they need to know. But if they're a maven and they have mavenitis and they're a know-it-all, there's nothing I can do with that.
Sometimes, Pete, I wish I could go back and kick my 20 some odd year old self. I didn't really have any sales leader mentors in my younger days. And I guess to some degree, because I was also surrounded by a lot of, unethical managers and, managers that had only gotten their roles because of political reasons or whatever the case may be. In my 20s coming up, I was successful, and it helped me for a long, long time. But it also, I think, made me almost, some of my earlier experiences in my career, maybe in my 20s and early 30s, maybe not as trustworthy. And so I kind of did keep to myself. I mean, I had managers that would try to, turn my team against me or steal practices or, do just unorthodox things to try to beat our team. And so I think I was almost pre-programmed to kind of lone wolf it. But what's amazing to me is I got laid off at what I thought at the time was like the peak of my career. I was very, very early 30s. And, what's amazing, I was a sales leader, but I was of the mindset where I was the guy. I was the hero. I was, jumping in, closing deals for my team and doing all the mistakes that a manager can do. Plus, I made a lot of foolish life decisions. Thank God I'm still here. But my point in saying all that, now that I can look back 20 years later, to be able to say and see where I thought was my peak, and to know now that I've turned into someone who I know I still have a lot to learn, and my greatest successes are through and with others. Realizing that and knowing, like, even that year that I thought I maxed out and was, while it took a while to rebound and get back to the place that I was from a stature and income perspective. I mean, last year I made 4 times what I made that peak year, right? So team selling is the way, not only for your pocketbook, but also for your career. As in, I've had the most success over the last few years because I've gone to other members and sellers who touch my market. And I've said, look, if I'm going to do really great things or set up conversations or go out and prospect and get executives to buy in to what you're doing, what conversations does your team want to be having? What is going to get your team paid? How do I make you a winner? And I incorporate that into my strategy. And I focus on my sphere, my customers, my leadership, all of the people that touch my market, my team. If all those people win, guess what? You win. And that's what I focused on obsessively over my last decade plus at Microsoft. And I got to tell you, it's just, I wish I had had that realization sooner.
We can go through life doing that, but the reality is you probably needed to go through some things to really get the lesson and really understand it completely.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about your content and your books is you do not shy away from the fact that you're a man of faith.
Yep.
And I love that about you. I love that about Happy Z's and Scott Vaughn in particular, Jeff Janakovo, who also has a great store in Lancaster, Pennsylvania called Gardner's Mattress and More. It's weird because we kind of live in a world that almost frowns upon it in broad strokes, and you could alienate some people. But I would say this: you're going to attract a lot of really good people to you that want to do business with you, more than those few that you're going to alienate. And at the end of the day, you got to stand for something. And so thank you for standing up and saying what you believe in without being overly preachy about it. I think you strike a nice balance with it, but you do not back away from it one bit. And I love that about you. So if I needed something that you sold, I want to do business with you because you have backbone and you have integrity, and your integrity and your backbone is very appealing to me. But the part that I love about you the most is this little self-deprecation that you have, that you can kind of laugh at your younger self for being not the most perfect person in the world. And I laugh at myself when I was younger. I mean, I was so egotistical. I mean, I don't even know how I got my head through the door. I mean, it was really bad at times. And, and people hear me say that and they go, no, you never were like that. I was like that. I needed to get checked. And I can assure you of this. If you need to be checked, the good Lord will check you. And
Amen.
He'll make sure that you know what you need to improve. Jeff Janakovo, one of my dear friends, Carson should check out C-Suite for Christ. Absolutely. Jeff, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff is special. He is one of our thought leaders in our industry. He runs a great retail store. He has multiple businesses. I don't know how he does it all. His wife has had like severe health problems in the last almost year that would take most business owners out completely, but because of the frameworks and because of the systems and the processes that he has put in place, his businesses have thrived in his absence, so he could be a husband and a father and do the things that he had to do. So one of the things that I love that you did in this book, you documented a process.
No doubt.
Like you literally, like you gave your playbook away, dude. And I love that because what that says to me is go ahead. I dare you. I know you won't do it anyway. And that's pretty much the way I feel about my competitors. You know what? I don't know if you ever read this book. It's an old book. It was written by a guy named Robert Ringer. And it was called Winning Through Intimidation.
Okay.
And it talks about the hare and the tortoise. And the tortoise is saying, slow enough. If you slow down enough, if you speed up to the right, I'll cut you off. If you speed up to the left, no matter what you do, I'm going to do more, and you can't outwork me. Is essentially the long and the short of that quote is you can't outwork me. You're not going to outwork me, and you're certainly not going to outsmart me. And so between working smarter, which I have to do, and working harder, which is just for some reason, I must have been born on Saturday. Saturday's child works hard for a living. I don't know why. And it's not hard. Like my job is the easiest job in the world. Do you know what I get paid to do? I help my friends make money. And I get paid for it. It's like being a hitman in the mob and never having to do a hit. It's
but that's
crazy.
a mindset, Pete. That's a mindset, and that's where it all really starts. I applaud you for looking at it that way. And Jeff, I want to say thank you for the recommendation, and prayers for you and your family. Hopefully everything is going okay with your wife. And thanks for being on today. You sound like an amazing leader, because that's frankly what it's all about, is having the people and the processes in place. I've been recruited to come into different places within my organization, within previous organizations, to do just that, to build a sales culture, to put processes in place. And it's only through, frankly, experiences that, and frankly, mentors that I've worked with, that I've been remotely qualified to be able to do that. And Pete, you touched on a couple of other things that I wanted to touch on also. Being able to acknowledge the importance and the just the paramount fundamental presence of faith in my life. It's impossible to connect the dots forward, but when I look back and I connect the dots backward and I see where and why things happened, and how even when I felt completely alone, that I wasn't, that he was with me and he was the one pulling me, yanking me. Those types of things mean all the difference in the world to me. And it actually speaks to why I published my entire playbook. I'm very blessed and fortunate to have reached this point where I really don't have anything to prove. I've done everything I've set out to do, and that's brings freedom with it. I'm excited about where I am now and where it's going, and being able to continue to learn. Like, I feel like I'm just like squeezing the juices out of life. And, I get to enjoy my family, and, still now hopefully pay it forward and continue to train and coach and instill, some of these fundamentals into the next generation at this company and others. So I've reached a point where, hey, here's what I've learned. Take it if you want. And to your point, Pete, it's kind of I dare my competitors to try to do some of these things because I don't think they will. I've trained a lot of people on how to do some of these things, and nobody picks it up because it's not always, the steps are relatively easy, but the commitment and the discipline that it takes and the resilience when you get knocked down or told no, or you lose a deal, or you lose a job. One year I won the biggest award in the company, and by the end of the week, my job ceased to exist and I got moved into another role. I consider myself the Rocky Balboa of sales. I cannot be kept on the mat, and that is what has served me well.
I love that. And that there's several references to Rocky throughout the book. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. I was in high school when Rocky Balboa, when the very first movie came out. And it got me. It got me really, really bad, to the point where I never cried in front of anybody. And I cried in front of my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she asked me, after the movie, she said, well, thank you for trusting me enough to cry in front of me. Not very many guys would do that. And I said, well, I really didn't plan on it. And I was just overwhelmed. And she asked me a really good question. She said, what made you cry about the movie? And I said, that's my life.
Yeah.
It's my life. I don't stay down. I get back up. And when you see that, it's like, and you talk to people, one of my favorite things to do in this world, Carson, I love talking to store owners about their origin story, like how their store started and what were their challenges. And it's all the same, Carson. It's different people, it's different faces, it's a different city in a different state, but there's 6 to 8 different startup stories. And then it's just like duplication. It's just different faces, slightly different circumstances, but it all involves getting knocked down on the ground and people counting you out and getting your butt back up no matter what.
That's it.
And I love that about my job, that I get to meet these incredible people. And people say, when are you going to retire? I don't think I'm retiring. Bad news for my competitors. I think that they're going to bury me with an order in my hand. I hope my wife will take it out of my hand and get it to the factory so that you, Mr. and Mrs. Store Owner, get your delivery. But I'm perfectly fine going out with an order in my hand.
I love it. I love it, Pete.
So you really bared your soul in this book. And it takes a lot of guts to do that. It was not just flowers and rainbows. You talk about when people hurt you, professionally and personally. And to me, that makes everything that you say so much more real to me. And I bet you there were times when you were writing this, because I've written 2 books and I'm an amateur compared to you, Carson, trust me. But I know that you're a guy that you were probably thinking, should I reveal this much about myself? Should I just bare my soul? I mean, that conversation in your head had to have happened. And could you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah. No, thank you for asking that, Pete. You reach a point in life, I guess, because I reached it. And I think something about being 45 and then turning 46, I had a very it was intentional to release this before I turned 46, because I reached a point in my life where, as I kind of alluded, I felt like I had nothing left to really prove. But I came up in an environment where, you don't you don't let anybody see you bleed. I had to be invincible. I believed for a long time, even in my leadership career, especially because I had a manager in my early days in my career that, the guy would call me every morning and he would quote Gordon Gekko from Wall Street. And he wasn't kidding. I worked for this guy, and if you told him anything about your personal life, you better believe it was going to be used against you. So I learned for a long time to be self-reliant. Thankfully, I also, just because of some of the people that had done things to me, both, being bullied at an earlier age, all the way to what transpired when I lost my job for the first time. I became very untrusting, but I had this chip on my shoulder, and it was always about not feeling good enough. It was always about, wanting to prove all these people wrong about me. And that drove me for a long time. I was very grateful for it, actually, because it made me unstoppable. And I was very grateful for them giving me this fuel, this ammunition. But I got to tell you, at some point, that fuel, that ammunition does run out, because I got everything I wanted. I have my dream girl. I've got my family. I've got my dream car. I have, I get to do what I love doing, and it actually helps the greater good. I got recruited a couple of years ago to come lead our team that supports all of our top nonprofits in North America. I just, it's almost like this is what I was fighting for the whole time. So what do you do on the other side of that, right? What do you do when everything you've ever chased, every goal you've had, every bucket list item, you've achieved it? And I'm living that now. And that was where I got to. And that's why I honestly didn't question saying some of these things, because the reason I wrote this and the reason that I even share the content that I share is because I know that somebody out there is experiencing and dealing with some of the things that I deal with and that I've dealt with, and the experiences that I've had. And I got to tell you, Pete, if my perspective can help anybody out there, or the mistakes that I made can be avoided by somebody out there, or, the pain that I felt can help somebody else in the moment that they're feeling it, it's worth it, even if it touches one person. And that is why it was very easy for me to write this book.
Well, in Carson, I'm going to call it here right now. So everybody listen up really close. I can see Carson's future, and it's a future where he is a full-time coach and consultant, because this is where you're going to get brought to. And it's because of your heart. You have a heart to help, and you're going to have more and more people approaching you more and more. It's going to start taking too much time away from your regular gig, and you're going to have to make a decision, and you're just going to end up having to do it because the good Lord's going to put it on your heart, and he's going to put it on heavy. And I know your body language is saying already, well, if that's what it is, that's what it is. It's your will, not my will. Right, brother?
Wherever he leads me, I will go.
And I love that. I want to, I identified with the bad managers, and I one-upped you, by the way. You wrote about some of the things a bad manager did. And yeah. I had to so this is like Mr. Contrarian in me. And I wrote drugs. I had a drug addict for a manager at one point. I've had a couple, actually. And then you had something really good. Let me see. You absolutely, it was about charisma. It was on page 298. You absolutely have to make some gambles from time to time. The many of mine, banking on people with charisma but no experience, have paid off. But ideally, you can de-risk your decision by adding people to your team who have faced similar challenges and either succeeded or learned significantly from them, or both. And I literally wrote down Tony Catanza, my best hire ever. Still in the business. He was so charismatic. And Carson, you're going to love this. I did a behavioral interview on him 30 years ago. 39 years, no, not 39, 30, 32, 33 years ago. I did a behavioral interview before that term even existed. And I just looked at him. So I'm the VP of sales at this company. I just looked at Tony. He's applying for this sales rep job. And I said, I'm just not feeling it. I just don't think we're a fit. And so he does everything by the book. Like you could tell he's a trained, seasoned professional because he tried to isolate the objection. He tried to make sure it was the only objection. And I'm giving him nothing. Like I'm Jello. You're trying to nail Jello to the tree, right? And finally, he gets so frustrated with me, and he's been pleasant the whole time. And he leans forward and he says, I don't know what you want. I don't know what answer you're looking for, but I can just tell you this, Pete. If you don't hire me, you're going to have to live with the fact that you passed on Tony Catanza, and I'm going to be the best mattress rep that there ever was in Northeast Ohio.
Hey.
And I said, you got the job, to myself. He didn't know he had the job. He had to wait a few more days. But when a salesperson can lean in and change the entire conversation, that's a guy that I'm willing to bet on, right? And so that's what happened with Tony. He's a dear friend. He's been in sales management forever, and he's been just creating success wherever he goes. I'm really proud that I was smart enough to hire him. And anybody that has the pleasure of working with Tony, I'll say the same thing. What a great guy, what a knowledgeable guy, and what a hard worker. You had a sales manager, Carson, and I know I'm running out of time. This is terrible. You had a sales manager that you followed to another job because she nurtured and she challenged you. She was what we all should be, right? Yeah. Tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah. I'm still close with her. Like she retired, and that's what made me a free agent to come to this group a year and a half ago. It's fascinating to me because I look back and my career could have gone very differently without the intervention of this person. My first year as an account executive, and keep in mind, I had already had a relatively successful career at AT&T for 9 years, and then a couple of jumps, hops, and skips in between there and coming here. I was an account executive, and my first year, I'm betting big on this social selling strategy, leveraging LinkedIn to go out and prospect and, create meetings that nobody else could get. And it wasn't happening fast enough for this person, and they didn't understand my methodology. They're like, what do you mean you're prospecting with LinkedIn? I don't even know what that means. You need to be getting leads from vendors and partners, and you're just not doing it the right way. And I actually came back early from paternity leave to close 11 deals, of which I closed all 11. Territory had the best year it had in 5 years. And I actually missed goal for the only year of my entire career. But it was because while I was out, she moved a couple of my customers to different people. And that caused me to miss, even though I had the second best growth on the team. I got what's called insufficient results, and I was 1 foot out the door. And that is actually where Salesman on Fire came from, is that story of what transpired was the inspiration, right? So I was 1 foot out the door. I could have been done, but I obsessively became a student of what worked, what didn't. I developed discipline, obsessive, ruthless discipline over my schedule, and just took the bull by the horns. And I was nicknamed Man on Fire, like the Denzel movie, by one of my colleagues. And so what was fascinating was, won the biggest award in the company. Things moved around. This person was no longer my manager, and my skip level was now this great manager that I worked for. And I followed her around for 6 years, 3 different roles. She promoted me 6 times. In fact, I had a competitor that came after me really, really, really hard. They put out an offer that I couldn't refuse, and this person actually secured a retention bonus to keep me, which is very loyal. And what's great about this person, Pete, was she didn't mince words. She'd say, look, Carson, what got you here isn't going to get you to the next level. Nobody at the sales leadership level cares that you're the best social seller that's ever lived. You've got to become the right sales leader for these people. You got to turn them into having the ability to social sell. And she was spot on. And she would tell me the things that I needed to hear, even though they would annoy me on the conversation. But once I got away from the call and it sunk in, she was always right. And I owe her a tremendous debt, because I would not be where I am today without her guidance and tutelage and patience and her advocacy for me. And I hope everybody out there can have a manager like that in their lifetime.
Carson, I should have asked you this a couple minutes ago. Was there a question I should have asked you that I didn't, or something you'd like to say to the audience before we say goodbye?
No, Pete, look, if you're out there and you're in sales, it's a noble profession. I like to call us the noble knights of the sales game. Sales has been very, very good to me. I met my wife in sales. I have everything I've ever wanted. And it's a very noble profession, because you get to meet and develop relationships with people everywhere. And that's a blessing. And I have met so many amazing people that are friends, that are mentors, that have really enriched my life through sales. It's not easy. It can be very challenging. It can push you to the limit. It can be stressful. But if you really lean into the fundamentals of sales, which is investing in people, investing in relationships, learning, up-leveling, being better, and then Pete, you hit the nail on the head, the team sport element. How can you lift everyone else around you, inspire others to be better and contribute to their winning? Those things are so rewarding and fulfilling. That's all.
So before I say goodbye, anybody out there that wants a great book on sales, buy this book. If you want a great book on sales management, buy this book. If you want a great book on mindset and how to win, buy this book. If you care about human beings, buy this book, because this isn't just a playbook. It's not just a sales book. It's not just a sales leadership book. It's a book of winning in life the right way. And I would encourage you guys, go on Amazon or wherever you buy your books, buy the book. If you don't consume that way, go ahead and grab your phone, order it on Audible. I listen to it on Audible as well. I am so proud of you. It's like you're my kid, but you're not my kid, obviously. But Carson, you are like one of those people that keep me going, that noble souls that want to do the right thing for their customers, that want to do the right thing for their people, and want to lift our profession up. And so thank you for being you, Carson. And you are such a busy guy. I can't believe you made the time to come on my show, but I appreciate it. And my audience will appreciate it for today and for years to come. So
Pete,
thank you, Carson.
The admiration is very mutual. And I just want your audience to know too, Pete is the real deal. If you don't already know it. I mean, I've literally reached out and talked to and called Pete when I've been going through crucibles and impasses in my life. And Pete, you're a blessing for me and for everybody you touch. So thank you.
Thank you, Carson. Everybody go out there and sell 1 million. Thank you. Jim, you there?